Hello, everybody, and welcome. Let's start out this semester with a few expectations. Now, you may wonder why I'm talking about some of these subjects. Well, the reason I did is because somebody tried it. Everybody's familiar with the sign, do not open in flight. That means somebody has actually tried to do it. Another one, do not tip or rock a vending machine. You've probably seen this sign, you've seen people actually do it. And of course, there's my favorite, don't stick your hand in the toilet. I don't think I would think to do that, but apparently this is a problem. So as I go through my expectation, a lot of them are event driven. Bottom line, I expect you to act as a professional, and you in turn can expect me to treat you as a professional. I'd like to start out on a positive note. I've been impressed and continue to be impressed with student professionalism at CSU. Now, some of you are just starting out your professional career. When I started out my professional career, I had nobody sit down with me and explain what a professional means. I have a video for this week, which I tried to distill over 40 years as a professional into 10 minutes. Here are the 3 points. For the last one, if you're helping problems, I can help more if I can help sooner. Now, you can expect to be treated as a professional in my class. Each of you is in a different stage of life. Treating you as a professional is my way of respecting you at whatever point you are at life. Now, if you recall, when the centurion was asked Jesus to heal his servant, he described himself as a man under authority. Being a centurion, he certainly could have described himself as a man with authority, but he chose to emphasize the responsibility that always goes with authority. I see my role as an instructor as being under authority. I'm accountable to CSU and ultimately God for how I treat you. God has a plan for everyone, and I have the privilege of helping you discover and follow God's plan for your life. Now, stuff happens, life happens, which is why I made the three-step strike rule. I will drop your three lowest grades, so if you miss one or two up to 3 assignments, you won't be penalized, but you will probably be too far behind to catch up if you miss more. If you're late to class occasionally, I probably wouldn't notice, but chronic late this poses a problem. I make most of my announcement at the beginning of class, and you are responsible for the materials whether or not you're there. Don't expect my memory to serve me if you come in late habitually. Okay, integrity. Here's the official CSU reference. How does this apply to programming? Most of you all know that programmers collaborate a lot, and it's good for you. But when does it cease becoming collaboration and become copying? Remember, the purpose of collaboration is to learn. I would say that if I see you seated next to another student, two of you are not saying a word, and you are watching what they're typing on the screen and typing on your computer, you are copying. That sounds like an actual instance. It was. Speaking of actual instances, I had a case where a student turned in a file to ask whose farm was this, and his answer was Johnson's. The student's last name was not Johnson, but the student next to him had that same last name and identical project, and both of them ended up being charged with an academic violation. A little bit more on that later. I had a case where during individual work time, a student would walk around with his book bag on his shoulder and talk to other students. He would leave it suddenly after. I found out he was taking a picture of the other students' programs and going back to his dorm and copying it as his own program. I eventually figured out when he was surprised by his own program when he demonstrated it. According to the CSU policy, helping somebody else cheat is cheating. The excuse I did not know what they were going to do with the file when I gave it to them or I let them take a picture of it does not wash. I've charged some lenders with academic violation and had it stand when appealed. So what are the standards for claiming a program as your own? You created a file, you typed everything in it, and you can explain everything in it. I should be able to select any random block in the file, and you should be able to explain what it is and why you include it. And shrugging your shoulders and say, I don't know, that's what I copied off a Stack Overflow is a non-answer. Okay, regular projects, I expect some collaborations. You should be able to use core sources. Copying another student's program is prohibited. Use of AI is prohibited except where it's allowed or required. I formerly allowed the internet research, but it's become so AI integrated to negate the value of some of the exercises. Speaking of AI, most of the initial projects for each language could be generated in one prompt with AI with absolutely no learning value. Kind of reminds me of that, and that's what we're talking about with introductory projects. Handheld calculators started becoming common when I was in junior high school. They were banned in school because it was feared that students would not learn arithmetic. Does that sound a little familiar? There's also objection, what would you do if you don't have a calculator? Okay, fast forward to 2025, 2026. How many calculators do you have within arm's reach right now? I guess probably two, one on your phone and one on your computer. Now, as it turns out, the most effective strategy was to require students to learn arithmetic without calculators and to allow their use at an appropriate later time. I adopt a similar approach for generative AI. Computer scientists must know how to use AI, but not before they learn how to program. For this course, we will program in 6 different languages. You will see at least 2 of them again, Bash and Python, in your other course work. Do yourself and me a favor. Go ahead and learn your basic Bash and your basic Python instead of blowing through it using AI. That way you won't get in their course and they will say define a program in Python and you'll raise your hand and say, I didn't know how to do that. Well, you should have learned to do it in Mr. O'Neill's class. All right, and a heads up, I use AI detector software in this class. The syllabus contains a detail of how I use it, but I feel ethically bound to directly address the transparency and privacy concerns that this raises. Transparency, I will go ahead and tell you, I use Turnitin CSU's AI detector per CSU policy. Turnitin is internationally used commercial software that is subject to the European Union's General Data Protection Requirements, which is the new gold standard for privacy protection. Now, I will pause here in class and ask students what their experience with AI detection is, because it's generally new and I don't have a feel for what students have encountered with it. If you are one of my online students, feel free to email me with your experiences. Okay, students agree by taking this course, all required assignments may be subject to submission for textual similarity review to Turnitin.com for the detection of plagiarism. All submitted assignments will be included as source documents in the Turnitin.com reference database solely for the purpose of detecting plagiarism of such assignments. Use of the Turnitin.com service is subject to the Turnitin usage policy. I screen assignments if they indicate 20% or more tests as AI generated. Notice I said screen. I say screen because I require some collaborative evidence. I will not charge a student with an academic violation based solely on an AI detection score alone. I will require some writing sample assignments prior to the ethics paper to provide a baseline for your writing abilities. I will also may require you to demonstrate a program, or I may email you with a question if you're an online student. And in addition to determining whether somebody's using AI, this will allow you to practice the reasoning that you'll need for the test and the final exam. AI is a fast-moving topic. I may need to take other measures as it develops. Okay, as far as the weekly routine, this course simulates working in a program and schedule sections. Tasks are given out by the week. You will note for online students only, I'll have daily goals. That's the equivalent of the daily stand-ups. These do not apply to online students because the online courses are delivered asynchronously. Now, I know that you are accustomed to information supermarket approach, but I really intend for you to read all the reading assignments and watch all the assigned videos. Students have a tendency to skip the code along assignments because they don't get a grade on it. These concepts will resurface, pay me now or pay me later. For all assignments, you're expected to push a file, to most assignments, you're expected to push a file to GitHub that you physically typed into the computer. Some of you will physically type into something like an online resource. You may share your team's final project files, but you need to announce who is on the team. Oops. Oh, don't let me skip this. Above all, test all programs before turning them in. I am your instructor. I'm not your test section. This is an expectation for all programmers worldwide. A programmer does not test their code before putting it in production can suddenly be a former programmer. Okay, talk about everybody's favorite subject, due dates. You will have those when you get out into the corporate world. I dropped the 3 lowest grades. The 3 strikes will get you through 1 or 2 rough weeks. You have much more than that, you will not be able to meet the requirements of this course. It is possible to have 100% on your regular assignments if you turn to the first assignment in on time and then correct all deficiencies. Since I allow regrades, I do not allow extra credit. Now on the regrades, this is not a closed book test. On the second try you can talk to me, and after the second try before the third one you certainly need to talk to me. Okay, talk about time expectations. 12 hours a week, you get that from a 4 credit hour course, and you're expected to put in 2 hours outside of class for every hour in class. This has been a rule ever since I went to college in the 1970s. There'll be time during the scheduled class period where you can work on your own with me standing by to help. Many students are able to complete most of their assignments just by fully using that time. Okay, attendance expectations will vary depending on whether you're in person or online. Okay, in person start people first, online relax a little bit here. For in person students, I will take attendance. Attendance will be required for test days and in class writing assignments. Since this is a 300 level class, I have the option of not enforcing the failure due to absence policy. That is, you will not be dropped from the course if you miss 7 or more absences for now. This will eventually be, I see this eventually being required for all classes, but we'll enjoy the freedom while we have it. Now, I see what I see. I will tell you that I allow a generous amount of time in class for individual help. I've had individuals skip class and then show up in my office expecting me to personally tutor them. Don't do that. Also, there are circumstances that may require me to assess the student's level of effort, and I will make my judgment on what I see. I can see your effort if you make it in class. Okay, that's in person. Now online students, this is a synchronous class. There are no specific dates and time to meet. There are weekly goals that need to be made. Assignments will be done on a weekly basis. The daily goals you see are suggestion for you, but they're not required. One caveat is the final exam will close for online students when it closes for in-person students, because that's when the administrator starts yowling for grades. As with in-person students, there are circumstances that may require me to assess the student's level of effort. If you've been communicating with me via email as you have questions, I will gauge you as being engaged in the class. For those of you that are online and not local, I'll be happy to meet with you via Teams or Zoom. I understand many of you work during the day and we'll be glad to set up an evening appointment with you if that works better. Now that we have the administrative stuff out of the way, let's go do some programming. Don't forget to introduce yourself in the discussion. It's an easy first grade.